an intergenerational residential school survivor, meaning that both my parents and my grandparents went to residential school. So the negative effects of residential school really haunts me till today. I started drinking when I was like 14, 15 years old. Oftentimes outdoors, like around bonfires, at parks, like anywhere as teenagers can party, we were partying. My name is Tanya Snowshoe, and we need to talk about this stuff. It wasn't until my godbrother Willie passed away where I really started my drinking. Like, I really noticed my drinking took off because I didn't know how to cope with losing such an important person in my life. It was March of 2017, and I decided to go to Edmonton to visit my sister Kara. And I decided to go out one night during that Edmonton trip, and I thought I was with a group of people that, like I could trust and everything. I passed out at one point, and I came to, and I had to go to Kid Cudi at West Edmonton Mall, and I was completely hungover. Like, it was beyond bad. But my body at that time felt so weird. Like, it felt like it was off. And then it finally clicked in my head that something must have happened to me during that night. And bits and pieces of that night was still haunting me. Probably a month afterwards, and that's where my drinking really, really, really took off. I was drinking a 24 pack and a 40 every other night. My loved ones, they kind of took notice, and they were like, "What's going on? Like, what's happening?" And then I finally let it out that I was raped while I was in Edmonton. And instead of seeking the proper help and seeking any help at that point, I just took it to the bottle because that's all I knew how to grieve. That's all, like, I lost myself that March of 2017. I think I drank for a good 6 months. Within that 6 months, I think I must have had like 2 weeks to 3 weeks of sober days. I had a cousin that was murdered. I had many cousins that committed suicide. A few friends. Like, it was a huge impact on me. So the only way that I knew how to cope was to drink. I just didn't really care about my life. I didn't care if I was going to make it out that year. I was really grieving. It wasn't until after my cousin Lloyd passed away that finally really took notice of how I was really impacting my family members in that, and how like I didn't want to worry them anymore. So I decided not to quit. I decided to stop for a bit. It wasn't until June of 2018 that I finally said, okay, it's enough. Like, I'm not gonna drink anymore. And I haven't touched the bottle since then. During this whole process, I was talking to a counselor. I have been with this counselor since Willie passed away, pretty much. And so I really started relying on her after I decided to put the bottle down and seeking the proper help. It took me a couple of years to finally be okay to be at parties, be okay to have friends again, be okay to leave my house again. I went through a major depression when I stopped drinking. I probably should have went to AA or something, but I really relied on my counselor. I relied on my mom, my dad, my grandfather at that time, who has passed since, and my grandmother. They are my biggest supports, and as well as my sisters and my 2 brothers. Yeah. Who knew I was gonna be sitting here right now telling you that I was 1,000 plus days sober. Like, my friends probably would have laughed, like, in my active addictions, thinking like I would never quit. But here I am, and now that I'm almost 5 years sober, Like, I sit on multiple boards. I sit on the Mental Health Act Review Board. I sit with the Mental Health and Addiction Recovery Advisory Group. I sit on the Supporting Wellbeing. It's a new board that just got created. And I also like work full time. So I want everyone to know, like, this happened to me, but it's okay to move on. It's okay to not rely on addictions, not to rely on masking the pain, but to actively work on yourself